Well, that's the frustration that England have got to put behind them. That's the scene in the King Fahd Stadium at the moment. The prayers are over, the teams are on the pitch. I assume that that's the team caption going up the screen there, but we'll get confirmation as we join our commentary team of Trevor Brooking and Barry Davies.
And welcome to the world's largest Bedouin tent. And that's not to be critical of this magnificent King Fahd Stadium, which has been built at the cost of $558 million. It's a new experience for the England team, the 49th different nation that England have met. And for it, they include 3 new caps, with Michael Thomas of Arsenal, the last to get up there, wearing number 4. 3 new caps and 2 other players who have only played once before. In all, 5 changes on the side from the team that you were watching a few moments ago playing against Sweden. As for Saudi Arabia, this for them is preparation for the Asian Games, which take place in Doha from December the 2nd to the 18th, and under the management now of Carlos Alberto Pereira, and led here by the captain, Enema. They're looking to England to give them the sort of game that they require for that competition. They also have yet to start their World Cup qualifying group, which includes Syria, Bahrain and the Yemeni Republic. There are 5 survivors in their starting lineup this evening from the team that drew 2-2 here against Scotland back in February. This magnificent stadium, which was British designed and British and West German built. This is the Saudi Arabia team. The goalkeeper is one of the 5 survivors, along with Enema, Jamal Abdujawad and Majid Abdullah, who will wear number 9, second from the bottom of the list there, and he got the equaliser to make it 2-2, and is probably the most noted player in Saudi Arabian football. The officials this evening come from Bahrain. A while ago they'd have had to come by air, but now there has been a causeway built between the 2 countries, so it's just a journey by road. Causeway built by the Saudis. England lineup: David Seaman and Mel Sterling, the other 2 new caps with Michael Thomas. As Bobby Robson, the Saudi, he wanted another look at Chris Waddle, playing in what they call the hole behind the front 2, Lineker and Beardsley. And England in red, looking to provide a flourish to some British enterprise by British Aerospace, who brought the team here by Concorde, as you saw, and who've managed to mix in a delightful manner sport and business in this area of the world. So England attacking the goal to our left. Hussein. Certainly biding his time. The pitch, I should tell you, which is only just recently been re-sown. It's just 21 days old. They use the cell grass system here, but they've re-sown it for the winter. And it is very uneven, certainly doesn't match the majestic setting. Quiet opening minute. It'll be interesting to see whether England dictate the pace of the game. Scotland, when they came here, rather sat back on it and looked to see what Saudi Arabia could do. England may well have learned from that lesson, because Bobby Robson has been looking at the videos. Crowd still coming in. Many stayed for prayers in the car park. And when I say many, there's car parking for 30,000 cars outside and 6,000 inside. So it could be that the crowd will swell quite a bit. Capacity here is 70,000. It'll certainly be nothing like that. Stuart Pearce. Beardsley. rather telegraphed the pass, cut out by Abdullah Saleh. Number 2. Whitlock thinking in midfield. He's got 3 forward on the edge of the area. Still 2. David Rocastle. David Seaman. 1 under-21 caps, but he was up with Birmingham. Been on the bench 5 times before getting this opportunity in the absence of both Peter Shilton and Chris Woods. It's Gary Lineker trying to get in at the back. In contest with Jamil, who wins out. England throw. Sterling will take. Gets the cap 4 years later than he may well have anticipated, because he was picked to play against Finland, then broke a bone in his foot. And the first dangerous moment in the air, Dyer pushed it away. Gary Pannister who came up, and this could well be a major factor for England if they bring both Pannister and Tony Adams forward. There was no real challenge, and it was a good save by Dyer. He's been the regular goalkeeper now for some time. Out to Pearce, back to Beardsley, who's offside. Players certainly very appreciative, not to say amazed at the facilities here. So many of the facilities really quite unreal. This is very much a kingdom where dreams can be made to come true because of the money available. I'm sorry that you're having a few problems with the pictures. You may well be able to see that Mohsen is the injured player, and we're now looking again at Michael Thomas. Mohsen with the problem with the left leg. One of the longer serving players, played in the 1984 Olympic Games and in the Asian Championships which followed, when Saudi Arabia was successful. The referee, Yassem Mandi.
Well, certainly the opening few minutes, I think it's important, as you said, Barry, that England in fact try to impose their pace on the match. Our style of football is much quicker and sharper, whereas the Saudi team like to build up slowly and go in little bursts. And I think, as we see here, that was the injury as he goes down. But I think the fact that Peter Beardsley was back challenging and hustling shows, I think, the way, the attitude the England team are going to adopt, and I think that's important that they do if they're going to get the right result.
I'm sure you'd have known that was the voice of Trevor Brooking. Whitlock, who's been brought into midfield wearing number 6 for Saudi Arabia, seems to be very much the link in these opening stages. Jamil across. This is Whitlock again. Sued. Pannister. England with 4 forward. Beardsley coming short to the edge of the centre circle to collect and plays it off nicely. That's good stuff. Rocastle, but asked perhaps a bit too much of Mel Sterland. See how quickly the new caps settle down. Bobby Robson taking the opportunity to award 3. Here's Gary Lineker, who will be hoping very much this evening to take his opportunities after such a magnificent goal-scoring record for England. He rather lost his touch in the European Championship, though he didn't know then that he was suffering from the early stages of hepatitis. This is Beardsley, this is Chris Waddle. Dyer came to punch and completely missed it. But I shouldn't have qualified that. He missed it, but not completely, because it's gone, I think, for the corner. Which Beardsley will take, for which both Adams and Pallister are forward, just inside the 18-yard area. De La Salle on the near post we were looking at there. And again it's one comfortably in the air, and not comfortably in as they all stood, but the flag is up on the far side. The ball going in of Tony Adams, who wins so many in the air, but there were so many queuing up there to get the header while the Saudi Arabian team were watching them. It was just a question of who was going to take the opportunity. There's a man at the back there as the ball comes through. Well, it may not have been the scorer, but two others were certainly offside. We've been playing 8 minutes, and if you just joined us, let me tell you that there's no score in this first meeting between these two countries. Atmosphere that hasn't quite come to life yet, but signs that England are doing so. Certainly they're winning the ball rather more in the early stages than was the case with Scotland. Barak. Abdullah Saleh. Suid. Anything can match Abdullah yet. We might see a Lineker here. Proclaimed by Dyer. Jamil. Woodlack. Basically the Saudi Arabians are playing with two forward, but there's one just behind those two. No problem for Seaman. The music is rather different, isn't it? Majid Abdullah. And there is an accompaniment of a few drums. Offside against Gary Lineker. Very much the major sport in this country, football. They've had a number of coaches from different parts of the world. Brazil, from Germany, from England, the likes of Bill McGarry and Ronnie Allen. Not to mention the gentleman in the studio back in London. No hurry in getting anything going. Sued, bit of a dive in there by Brian Robson. It's a corner. And by Majid Abdullah. Saudi Arabians have put three players into the 6-yard area. Suid on the near post, and guarding the far one is Peter Beardsley. All the way back to Mutlak. England coming out, not quite all of them. Mutlak again. Should be countable for Pearce, and is. Lineker at times tending to be the one player forward. He's joined now by Chris Waddle, and if anything it's Beardsley who's playing behind the front two rather than Waddle. Just didn't get a flick on them, which would have been useful. Brian Robson thought about the shot. Waddle had got in behind. Lineker waiting in the middle. This is Thomas trying his luck, and it very nearly worked for him. Well, it just didn't get a touch from Lineker. And I wonder whether you spotted that the shot, in fact, was from David Rocastle. Adams to Mel Sterland. Here's Rocastle occupying the right side. Space now on the left for Stuart Pearce. Waddle in the inside left position. Movement slightly living up to his name. Lineker. Nice little flick by Beardsley. This is Waddle. Pearce is wide on the left. Lineker pulling to the far post. Waddle on the near. It's a good challenge by Abdullah Saleh. A bit of holding going on. This is Mosebi.
Well, at the moment, England are hustling Saudi into mistakes, and really, one has to say that the chances that have come have been caused in the air, haven't they? And the goalkeeper does come out and seems to flap quite frequently, and one feels that if they can get good quality crosses in, England are going to cause problems, whether it be set pieces, long throws, or just the fullbacks or wingers getting to the byline.
Saudi ball, after a little deliberation. Salah Mutlaq we were looking at, one of the newer players in the side, as indeed is Abdullah Saleh. Mosebi. Abdullah Saleh did quite well. Waddle, no attempt to play the ball. And Neymar, the skipper. There is a certain amount of British support. This contingent set the number around 10,000 in the capital, Riyadh, 25,000 in the country. And I know the embassy is well represented, including the ambassador, Sir Stephen Edgerton. Promising breakout if the ball's played early, and it is. Good save. No! He got a hand to it and it still went in. The goal scorer, Majid Abdullah. And it's interesting that everybody jumped off the Saudi bench except the coach, Carlos Alberto Pereira. But you can see what they feel about it in the crowd. It always looked promising if the ball was played early. And the man who tends to get the goals for them has done so again. That also is different. David Seaman actually got a hand to it, but it came down underneath the fingers. He was certainly left bereft of cover. Good play by the number 9. The new goalkeeper will be a bit disappointed. And I don't think that Mel Sterling will be too pleased either, because he didn't keep his balance here. He allowed Majid Abdullah to come inside him. And we are making sure, or rather the Saudi television are making sure that you know that they've scored. Ball now down the other end. But that's really something of a cold shower for England, who'd run the game up to that point and really got caught. But it was a very good ball, Trevor, and was very well finished.
It was a great through ball, but we caught very square at the back, and that was reflected in the fact that it was Mel Sterling, the right back, who had to come galloping across as the last resort. And to be fair, he should never have really allowed him to turn inside him and give him a clear shot at the goal. But it was very disappointing to find us so open when we were caught on the counter-attack.
We've been playing just short of 17 minutes. And the drums have a crisper beat. If you've just turned on your television, I hope you won't immediately turn it off if I tell you that Saudi Arabia are leading by 1-0. Majid Abdullah, the scorer. Rocastle. Robson. Michael Thomas. It's an interesting thing, looking back on that goal, that the move that started it, for all the quality of the ball, had an involvement from the referee, who blocked the England attack, which led to the Saudi counter. But even so, there were mistakes in defence, and the quality of the pass was a good one, as indeed was the finish. Saad Mubarak, number 17, third in the side in place of Atenean, who had been the regular, and hit one of the microphones down below. 3 come on to attend to Mubarak. Gary Pallister of Middlesbrough. Stuart Pearce of Nottingham Forest. Plenty of room to go into. Hits the cross early. Not a bad header back by David Rocastle. Well, I was mentioning that in terms of winning the ball, England started rather better than Scotland, but they know how the Scots felt, because like them, they've gone behind to this team. Free kick has been given, but they are tending to make rather a lot of the odd knock. Actually got 2 players down at the moment. There was a little bit of a push in the back on Mohsen, but don't think it really required the histrionics which followed. Well, they've left 2 men to look after Mubarak, who's now up on his feet, and 2 others, there's Mubarak, and 2 others have gone to attend to Mohsen.
Well, of course, it's a real test of character now, isn't it? New caps, and some with just 1 cap, David Rocastle and Gary Pallister. Bobby Robson looking, obviously, reflecting on that counter-attack, which I must say, Stuart Pearce tried to play into Brian Robson, and the referee did stop it, and that's how it started, but there was still no excuse for how open we were through the middle.
Pearce. Robson, Waddle, bit of space for Beardsley, nice weight on the ball to Robson. Lineker had gone away and made it very comfortable. Jamil leading the counter, and they are quite quick on the counter too. So much of the Saudi game that we've seen so far has been slow to the point of being ponderous, except for two attacks. One that produced the goal and that one there. Now under the influence of a Brazilian coach, having previously been coached by Omar Boris, the Uruguayan. That's out. It's a goal kick. We're halfway through the first half. And the score is Saudi Arabia 1, England 0. Rocastle. Jamil for company. Robson really didn't look. Good job the defender did. Abdullah Saleh. Flag up for offside. England at the moment playing like a team, trying to clear their heads after a hangover. How Carlos Alberto Pereira compares this noise, which has suddenly quietened, with what he was used to in Brazil. And the coaching staff for their 70 and 74 World Cup, and briefly their manager in 83. Had great success in the Middle East. He was in charge of Kuwait in the 82 World Cup, who played against England. Got the team also to the quarterfinals of the Olympic Games, as well as winning the Asian Games with Kuwait. Saudi yet ready to make their mark in world football. For the moment, that may be changing. Mutlak, place on the left, plenty forwards. The nearest to it was Mohamed Sued. Pierce. Robson. Bannister. Thomas. Everybody back in the white shirt. Lineker. Robson with the shots, which is hugely disappointing. England skipper looking a little tense, which I suppose is understandable. But England under Bobby Robson have always looked to Brian Robson for inspiration, arguably too much so. Bannister. And the free kick is against him. Abdul Jawad gets up and motors forward, as does the injured player Mohamed Sued in that challenge. And Neymar, the skipper, to take it. Plays for Al Hilal, the current champions. Cut out by Brian Robson. Football season here is from September to March, when the weather is rather cold. It can get very cold in the evening, but it's just pleasant this evening. The early days of the coming winter. Free kick. Abdul Jawad. Waddle to take. Bannister's up on the far side, coming in on it now and gets the header. And England using his height, he's 6'4" tall, in preference to having Tony Adams forward. But then Adams is at his best when he arrives late, and particularly from corners. Bobby Robson deciding not to include, at the start at least, the man whose corners have been so effective, along with the rest of his play for Arsenal. That's Brian Marwood. Just a little nudge there, but Pallister did well. Referee allowed play to continue. Waddle. Good overlap. But Rocastle went for the shot, and here is 2 against 2. This is Sued. Majid Abdullah making the run forward. If it's played now, they've got 2 men suddenly coming up on the left. Cross finds Mubarak. Abdullah Saleh. Mutlak. It's a disappointing pass from him. And I must say, Trevor, I'm hugely impressed the way they suddenly get players forward. They seem to be just loping around, and then suddenly they outnumber England.
Well, they did on that attack. They had 4 against 3, and if there had been a quality ball to the left really first time, England could have been in trouble again. I think the great problem is really at the moment they're loading up the middle, and we seem to be playing it into their strengths. I think with Chrissy Waddle actually playing as an orthodox left winger, I think we've got to play to the flank.
That's a good challenge to deny Beardsley. Abdullah Saleh looking useful right back. Pallister, one of many in this England team with so much to play for. Indeed, you could argue that there's really only one out there who is 100% certain of his place, and that's the captain. Next match is in the new year, first against Greece in a friendly, if that's the correct description, and then in the World Cup in Albania, where Sweden have already been successful, if a little luckily. Thomas. Pallister. 4 ball in. Beardsley. Thomas given no chance really. Mubarak. Waddle trying to lose Abdullah Saleh. 2 attackers, 3 defenders. This is Rocastle. And he's doing well. Comes to Jawad, he got round. Past the half-an-hour point. Still England behind to the 1 goal scored in the 15th minute by Majid Abdullah. He's been in the team since 1978. Little nod back. It was well out by Anema, but the whistle has gone anyway. And the thought which is going through my mind, Trevor Brooking, is that having decided not to start with Brian Marwood, Bobby Robson must already be thinking he's just the sort of player who could be a great source of inspiration to England here.
I think the thing, Brian Marwood and Alan Smith, probably he was hoping to get both of them on, and now you find yourself 1-0 down in a game, and as a manager you think to yourself, well, do I bring in 2 new faces like that? But at the moment, certainly England are struggling. I think as well Peter Beardsley, I always find in away games he plays a little bit too deep, and the options from the back are only really Gary Lineker or no one else, and if you just push Peter Beardsley up alongside Gary Lineker, I think it would put more pressure on the Saudi team and also give more space to our midfield.
Thomas to Rocastle. To Beardsley. Good challenge. And they're pushing out Saudi. Pierce. Waddle on the left touchline. two to take on. Pierce inside, Waddle stays back, and afraid it's a nothing ball. Three up for Saudi Arabia. Bannister. Two forward. Lineker in the middle, Waddle on the left. Mel Sterland gets a second chance, improvises well. Little fake from Waddle, and Lineker surely is offside. The linesman's flag up. Don't think there's any doubt about it. But I'm sure that Lineker will be hugely relieved when he can finally end this drought for England. Well, it was certainly tight. It was certainly tight. Looked at from the other side, as opposed to where the cross came from. It was certainly tight. Robson. Serbia starting the attack and in control again. Suyed rather losing himself. Lineker, I think if he had the opportunity to stop play and have a look at the replay, he might think he was very hard done by. Confess that my first reaction were not supported by the slow motion. Mutlak. They're not comfortable enough on the ball, and one would expect that. Oh, the crowd love that. Well, Michael Thomas. Mutlak. Masebi. Referee in the way again. Majid Abdullah. Mubarak, Majid Abdullah. Physical presence of Adams. And that's the score with 35 minutes gone. Situation at the moment where Beardsley was actually marking Jamil rather than the other way around. Beardsley, Lineker isolated down the middle. Robson goes backwards when he actually had time to turn the other way. Bannister. Adams, Rocastle in a bit of space. Abdul Saleh, oh, off the crossbar from Beardsley. Waddle. That's a good covering header by Jamil to deny Lineker. Beardsley very unlucky indeed. The right side is looking more productive for England. And that's where that move came from. Beardsley with the side footer back off the crossbar. And Dyer up on his feet, but not troubled in the end. thanks to Jamil. England again. Goal kick. It's proving to be not an easy game for young Michael Thomas to come into the side. 7 under 21 caps, been a first team player for only a season and a half. That was Waddle's final effort, and Jamil wins out. Saleh. Mubarak, Sayed, support behind, corner, leaded by Pallister. Sayed as tricky as Majid Abdullah. Saudis in the 6-yard box. And David Seaman does well. A rather blazing shot by Abdullah Saleh. Came almost waist high, and he just got a fist to it, and Abdullah Saleh rather flashed at him. Whitlack, Thomas, Alistair, receiving more of the ball than anybody else, and that says something of the balance of the play. Waddle hasn't really got away as a winger at any stage. Pearce, Robson, Sterling starts to go forward, changes his mind, which is now perhaps as well. Good touches. Ziyad wanted too many of them. Waddle, flag stays down. This is Lineker. Dyer makes a fine fullback tackle on the edge of the 18-yard area. Abdul Jawad on the left side. This is Mohsen, now number 11. Sterling covering inside the central defender who'd gone across, who was Adams. Abdul Jawad just running back with the beard. Under 4 minutes of the half remaining. Jamil. 2 forward. Mubarak, beat up, or put up, by Robson. Abdullah Saleh. Mubarak. Sayed. Cover by Pallister. 3 minutes from a half-time that I imagine the England manager will be pleased to see. Sterland. That's a good strike. Dyer all behind it. And he's looked a very capable goalkeeper. May well have got a touch to the one that actually beat him and came back off the crossbar. Mutlak, been a major influence in the Saudi success so far. This is Adams. Couldn't find the finish, but was showing the determination. The acrobatics was well appreciated. Rocastle. Corner conceded by Abdul Jawed. Lineker stays in the 6-yard box. Chris Waddle has gone across to take the corner. Adams moving forward from the penalty spot. Bannister behind him. Dyer comes all the way. Thomas just beaten to it. And Dyer is in need of attention, but I don't think the need is quite as, dare I say it, dire as he's suggesting. Trevor.
Well, I think he's just having a little bit of a rest, quite honestly. Very probably enjoying the scoreline at the moment because, as you say, it's Bobby Robson and the England players who have got the problems, deciding how to get back into this game. Nobody expected them to go into half-time 1-0 down. I still feel, you know, they need to push Peter Beardsley up alongside Gary Lineker, and certainly they're working in training on Mel Sterland and Stuart Pearce, getting to the byline, going beyond the wide players and getting in crosses, and as yet they've never really got beyond the 18-yard line. It's no good really getting crosses in from deep positions because either there's an offside, just testing his teeth there I think, he's offside, or else you know, the ball that goes in is not really a dangerous one. The defenders deal with it easily. I think at half-time he's going to be very tempted to bring on substitutes, the Arsenal connection of Alan Smith and Brian Marwood.
See how Dyer was injured. He didn't really get to the ball. Recovered his ground as Thomas tried for the shot. Well, we've seen nothing so far that suggested injury except to the hand, which surely didn't require the substitute, but it may be that he's put a finger out. Chris Waddle a little outnumbered. It's a bit close to half-time to make a substitution.
Okay.
But they may well be going to do just that. That is Khalid Al-Sabiani. Has taken over in goal, although still wearing number 1. A dislocated or broken finger would seem to be the problem for the first choice goalkeeper. Ball was out as a linesman. We're now into the time that the referee has allowed for the stoppages. Bannister up on the edge of the 6-yard box. Beardsley, nice touch to Waddle, is given offside. England players looking very frustrated. As I mentioned, all connected, officially or just supporters, will be sharing that feeling. The back four, who were clearly pierced once, Sebi gets it back from Abdul Jawed. Thomas, helped out by Rocastle, but Saudis keep possession. Mudlakouf had caught the ankle. Thomas, the injured party. Mubarak. Naima. Abdul Saleh. And the flag is up for offside. Pierce. And it was Beardsley who came back to play the square pass back to him. And he really is playing totally in midfield. Brian Robson. Well, midfield come defence. The referee has one look at the watch. Waddle. Pierce. It's curling a bit. Rocastle trying to find a way through. But England do not do so with any player. And the delight of the crowd greets the first 45 minutes from their team with the one goal scored by Majed Abdullah. The British in the audience, particularly those who are English, certainly must be stunned by this score. Saudi Arabia 1, England 0.
Goodness, that's the scoreline that'll rumble around Fleet Street if it remains unchanged. The views of Bobby Charlton and Jimmy Hill now. Jimmy, first of all, what did you make of that first 45 minutes?
Well, a very disappointing, almost inept performance, lacking imagination and ideas. The tactics which we see sometimes so boringly played in all divisions of the Football League, of pumping a ball down into the corner and hoping someone's going to pick it up, running up against a brick wall. And quite honestly, the Saudis are looking very good, and we should give credit to them for the composed way in which they've played. But their biggest weakness is their temperament, and we've only once or twice been able to put them under pressure, and that's when high balls have come over in the area and there's been moments of panic. But otherwise, with pure football, you haven't seen a touch of artistry or confidence, to threaten them.
Now, luck shouldn't be a factor in a match of this scale for England, but certainly luck was against England in the opening that presented itself to Abdullah for the first goal.
Yes, in being absolutely fair, Bobby Robson doesn't appear to be a lucky manager. Just look what happens now. The referee makes the interception, which gives the Saudis the ball. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see 6 of them coming through. Majed Abdullah is a wonderful sprinter. He's 28 years of age now. He turns inside beautifully. When I knew him as a young player, he used to panic in positions like that, but now he had the coolness to play it low past the goalkeeper's feet, the worst position, really, for a goalkeeper to get down and make a save. And here we can see the point that Trevor Brooking made. I think that Mel Sterling was the man there covering the gap in the middle and allowed himself to be drawn outside Majid, who gratefully took the chance to put it onto his left foot and hole out. So, unlucky because the referee intercepted it, which put England in trouble, but at the end of the day, not the most composed way of stopping that attack, or stopping the velocity of it, really, by making the man hesitate rather than biting at him, going past him and allowing him to come inside.
OK, luck again in 2 offside goals, decisions that went against England. First of all, went against Tony Adams.
Very tight, but I think we'll all have a look now, and I think you'll agree, if we can stop the ball on the man's head as it's played forward, you can see the defender coming out of the 6-yard box. Look, there it's played forward, and I don't think our players are offside. In fact, I'm sure of it, having had that look. So, Bobby Robson's luck.
That's not the header we've got to worry about, is it? The
no.
Adams scoring header. It's the first header.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I mean, but there was no problem with the second header. He was positively onside there. So, I mean, that's the sort of luck that breaks against a manager, subject to the criticism that Bobby Robson isn't.
And then luck again against Gary Lineker, and I think you feel the same about this decision.
I don't think that was offside either. Very tight indeed. Just have a look. There's the ball going over. That's the moment it's headed. Can you see there? He fades
Yep.
past the white shirt after the ball has been headed. Slipped his man very neatly and scored again. So really England should have had 2 goals and the Saudis plus the ref won.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Well, none of that really is in England's defence. What's your view, Bobby?
Well, when we were talking before the match, we was thinking that maybe this wasn't a really important match, and it was a chance to blood young players to bring them into the team. But you can't help feeling humiliated up to a point, you know, that an inferior side gets in front and beats you. Like Jimmy said, you know, we play a certain way in this country, and I think it's unfortunate that when we go abroad, we don't cut our cloth accordingly. If we'd have played a sweeper system, you know, then the chance that they created certainly wouldn't have been there. We have created problems. I keep thinking that it's not an important match now, but what I would like to see really is that we do cut our cloth. I mean, we've got Paul Parker there, who's a sweeper who would have stood in ably for Des Walker, who didn't come because of Notts Forest not allowing him to come. We should be playing that type of player. Instead, we've replaced Des Walker with another big central defender who's good in the air, but that is not the way they play. Certainly, the threat is not coming in the air. It's going to come from quick bursts from midfield where you're actually going to need a sweeper. And we have created loads of problems for them when we've knocked the ball into the box high, and yet we don't have one player whose main asset is to be a good striker in the air. And you've got Alan Smith on the touchline as well, you know. So I hope that by the end of all this, you know, the humiliation isn't there, and then we can say, well, at least we've learned something from this, even though it's not an important World Cup match. At least let's learn something positive from it, right, and play some good young players and see what they can do in this situation.
The point of things for the second half. We'll come back to the match in just a moment. Let's just raise the mood for the time being. Nice to hear the Match of the Day music at the start of the programme. You'll be hearing a little bit more of that in weeks to come as Match of the Day starts its series of FA Cup specials, starting this Saturday by concentrating on the first round matches. The first round, you may think the province of the smaller clubs, but as Jerry Sinstadt reports, there's no less than 10 previous winners in the first round lineup. From the FA Cup, Saturday evening, 11:05 on BBC One. But all that reminds us of the depth and tradition of the English game. At the same time, though, England are currently losing by 1-0 to Saudi Arabia in their friendly match in Riyadh. That's the half-time scoreline. Bobby Charlton, let's put the first 45 minutes behind us. What are the positive things you'll be looking for in the second half?
Well, like I said before, Steve, I'd like some of the younger players to get the opportunity to come in and at least use this as a good stepping stone onto something better in our World Cup qualifying. I think really the players have not looked confident. They've not looked as though they're together. People tend to release the ball too quickly. They've not been happy on the ball, and this really is a lot due, I think, to the preparation. I think they maybe feel a little bit stale. I'm not making excuses for them, but I think they'll probably feel a little stale after the journey. But I certainly think by the end of the match, England will be back in there. I don't think for a minute that they'll have lost the match by the end of the game. What we have to realise is that things have to be done a little bit quicker. The ball has to be released a lot quicker from behind. Midfield we don't, I must be honest, have a lot of vision in midfield. Brian Robson's a great tackler and gets forward and very brave player. And it's only really the last few minutes when Beardsley has dropped back into midfield that it looked as though we might be able to probe that a little bit better. I've been a wee bit disappointed with Michael Thomas in the midfield role. He's a marker, and yet from a positive point of view, he's not one that distributes the ball well. David Rocastle, not one really good cross-in, but the contribution of the young Arsenal lads hasn't been as much as I would have liked to have seen. But nevertheless, I think better things have got to come. Mentioning a bit earlier the bad way England got caught once again at the back, and the need perhaps for a sweeper again. Let's take another look at and get your views on the goal here, Bobby. Yeah, well, it was an unfortunate hit, the referee. The referee a bit lazy, actually. But look how many white shirts coming out to support the forward players. And then off goes the midfield player for that good run where he beats the square defenders. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 square defenders. If you played a sweeper system, he would not have been able to come inside and score as simply as he did. A sweeper would have had that extra 5-10 yards in hand to be able to read any situations like that. But we don't play it in this country, a sweeper system, and we don't change. We go to these major competitions, we know exactly how they're going to play against us, but tactically we don't try to change, and I think that we have to. And this is a good lesson. If we learn nothing else from today, but this, that we've been punished by bad planning, really, and not playing a sweeper, then I think then something useful's come out of it.
Right, Jimmy, we can almost hear the knives being sharpened for poor old Bobby. What would his mood be at the moment? What would he be saying to the players? And in particular, where does he go from here?
Well, I don't know what he'd be saying to the players. He'd probably be trying to whip them up, talking about pride in your job and pride in England, and do a kind of witch doctor act. I think it takes more than that. I think they could play with more spirit. In some ways, not the best kind of match to be in, because it is a friendly. Thank goodness it is a friendly. If points meant something for the World Cup, they'd have to get to grips with it. They'd have to tackle harder. And football is a strange game. If you start at half pace, you can't really get yourself out of it when a goal goes against, and that's the struggle they're having. But I think we are playing our regular league system without a target man, really, who's capable of taking those long through balls down either flank and building moves on those. I think Smith and Marwood can both do that job. And I think if Lineker up front on his own, not only in this match, but in other matches, is proved not a satisfactory target man. I'm not talking about the fact that he misses goals. And it isn't enough to have him up front on his own. The load is too much. It's not his style of play anyway. And they've got to bring somebody alongside him to give us half a chance. So, I mean, there are tactical weaknesses in the setup as it's played today. Never mind young players. Never mind the fact that, we're playing on a bumpy ground, which isn't to our liking, and it is to the Saudis. They're brought up on all kinds of surfaces out there. You can't believe it, but they take it in their stride. We like nice flat grass to show off on. We haven't got it in that game. That's not helping them gain confidence. But when all that's said and done, the team is not a balanced team. We haven't got a great passer in the middle of the field. We haven't got enough striking power up front to keep the ball there once those long balls have been played. And don't talk to me about wingers, because if either winger has gone past his man and crossed the ball at the far post, I've missed it. I'm terribly sorry. I don't think I have. But, I mean, it's not there. We keep talking about playing wingers. We don't play wingers. We pump ball into the corner sections of the field, play down the channels, it's called these days. That's what it is. Hit it into the channels and hope the striker can get out there and get it.
We seem to lose possession very quickly. If you've got a striker up front who is a good target man, he then gives the supporting players time to get there to support him. At the moment, there's nothing like that happening. Every time a ball is released forward, it's lost. Not enough time is given for the support. And I think that's why I think Smith should come in. Certainly. I wouldn't say the same about Brian Marwood, but certainly Smith as a striker, realising the inadequacies of their performance in the air in the first half.
OK, the Saudis a little bit flexible about the amount of time they take for half-time, but they're now out on the pitch again. The depressing half-time scoreline, England trailing by 1-0. We'll rejoin Trevor Brooking and Barry Davis.
And during the half-time interval, the England substitutes are all on the pitch, being active. But they're all now sitting down, so no changes. Crowd came in late. That's looking on the popular side. VIP seats, which are just down below us, cost £35 here. The ordinary class, as they call them, 1.5. And there are some English supporters down in front of us. There was a problem with the flag of St George, so this time there is a total excuse for the use of the Union flag. Listening to the half-time comments, then one would add the fact that in conversation with Gary Lineker yesterday, he told me that while playing with Barcelona, he's been asked recently by Johan Cruyff to play wide on the right and indeed wide on the left, and hasn't played much down the middle. Also, I think very noticeable that young Michael Thomas, it would appear, is not being asked to play the role that George Graham requires of him at Highbury. Anyway, here we go on the second half. England attacking the goal to our right. First touch of Brian Robson, who thought he was pushed, but the referee thought otherwise. This is Jamil, a very tidy defender. And I'm sure the Saudis will remember well that against Scotland they suddenly conceded 2 goals at the start of the second half. Wish them any ill, but it would be nice for England to follow the same attitude. Instead, the first goalkeeper employed is David Seaman. And only got his foot to the ball. Majid Abdullah, scorer of the only goal so far. Pierce. Everybody moving away from him. Waddle with company. Abdullah Saleh. Pierce. Lineker. Was he held? Yes, he was. Free kick is given. And Niema, the skipper, committed the foul. Beardsley places it. Bannister and Adams are on the near side as we look. You can't see them in your picture. Yes, there they are. There's Bannister, number 6. Adams is number 5. Lineker in the middle. Waddle runs over. Beardsley, that's going to be too long. Dear, oh dear. Well, maybe he felt that he had to strike it a little more swiftly on a pitch where the grass is a little difficult to predict. But really, with such an opportunity at the start of the half, one would have hoped for a great deal better. Adams now back in defence, as is Pallister. Michael Thomas has a role just in front of them at the moment, in the centre circle. It's a nice touch by Mohsen. Difficult to possess. Majid Abdullah. Now Michael Thomas plays it early, looking for Lineker. Jamil. Offside. Mohamed Sued. Thomas. Pierce. Chest trap, played it where he wanted to move into. Good early ball too to Robson. Lineker is in the middle. Waddle. It was Abdul Jawed. Of course, his goalkeeper considerable problems. He did well, the substitute goalkeeper. Subiani. Put it out for the corner. Look how it curls right underneath the angle of post and crossbar. Thomas. Yeah, given away by Beardsley. Majid Abdullah. Oh, they've missed out again. It's all over the place. Comes down to Majid Abdullah again. Oh dear. And the clearance by Mel Sterling came back off Majid Abdullah and really was a shot. A rebound that flew over the top of the crossbar. But what a mess they were in. It was unbelievable. It wasn't quite as quick as that originally, but it might well have been from David Seaman's viewpoint. Too many cooks. Pierce. Lineker down the middle. Waddle to the left. Service pretty well non-existent. Balance has always been the key thing in football. Why is it that at the moment England find it so difficult to find? Robson awarding 3 new caps. None of those on the substitute has ever started on the substitute's bench has ever started an international match. It can't be said that he hasn't experimented, but he hasn't got the mixture right at the moment. Pierce with the throw. Waddle comes away. to his forward on the edge of the 6-yard area, looking for the back flick, didn't get it. Poor clearance comes straight to Pearce. Two defenders are trying to create something here. Robson. Here's another defender, Adams. Forward at the moment. Mubarak, Sued, inevitably Majid Abdullah. Strengthened by an extra man from midfield, but this is Rocastle. Running into a cul-de-sac.
It's also anxious, isn't it? You know, everyone's trying to get England back into the game, but they're all hurrying doing it. There's no composure, no one willing just to spend a little bit of time on the ball. And also, you mentioned the service from the back. You know, when you think of the great international sides, they always have that one or two defenders who could surge from deep positions, don't they, and come and sort of create things from those deep rolls. And at the moment, we have no England player who can do that, start and set up attacks from deep positions.
As for a touch of originality in midfield, I'm afraid it's conspicuous by its absence at the moment. Here's Robson. Pallister. Adams. Look for a midfield player calling for the ball. Give it to me, I'll set something up. Couldn't see one. From Pearce, but simply as a defender winning the ball, not being able to turn defence into attack. It's Pallister. The ruling on substitutes, incidentally, is 3 plus a goalkeeper. The agreement between the two managers. 4 waiting. Off the room, Waddle not finding the cross. Free kick. Adams has gone forward, Sterland has gone back. He's the only one going back, everybody else is going forward. To do something about a score which is, at the moment, on a par with the failure against the United States many years ago, but not forgotten. It's curling, and that's the equaliser from Tony Adams. Very, very comfortable header. The Arsenal skipper brings a little respectability and brings some applause from the British support. 54 minutes gone. It's now 1-1, and the weakness in the air, which has been apparent from the start, is finally exploited. Goalkeeper was nowhere. Adams came from the back, as he does so well for Arsenal, determined to get to the ball and succeeding. Sub-colleague who took the kick. And now will that settle England? Rocastle's free kick, Adams' header.
Hey, keep it tight, come on!
Well, ironically, another Arsenal player, Alan Smith, was at that moment starting to warm up, but he's now been asked to sit down again. Waddle. Thomas available square, but not used, and yet he was in an enormous amount of space. But here's Brian Robson, who's also found space further forward. Rocastle can't get to it, but it's a corner. Waddle comes across to take. Abdul Jawad. Leans on the near post. Lineker nearest the goal. Bannister on the edge of the 6-yard box. Adams just behind him. Couldn't keep it down, Michael Thomas. He was determined to do that, and as a result, didn't get any power of any sort. Pearce. Up to Joed. Nice control. Which way is the free kick going to be given? Well, the referee is allowing play to go on, although after the challenge there was a very clear handball, and now there's a little bit of a disagreement going on involving Stuart Pearce. Personally, I saw nothing wrong with the challenge, but the Saudi player down certainly grabbed hold of the ball, Saad Mubarak, and the referee said play on. Different.
Seemed to just detach himself from what was going on there, didn't he? And thought, I don't think I want to get involved in this. And not surprisingly, one of the Saudi players decided to have a rest. But there's no doubt it was a vital boost early in the second half. I mean, which England needed to score. Tony Adams, as we say, from a set piece, they did look vulnerable from crosses. The worrying thing is still the general flow of the free play. We can't create chances from those situations. Even when Brian Robson a couple of minutes ago got to the byline, again, the only person really who was in there was Gary Lineker, because Peter Beardsley had set up the pass from a deep position. I think if you're going to play Peter Beardsley in a deep role, then one of the wide men has to go out, and you've got to play another striker up alongside Gary Lineker. Otherwise, it's never really going to work.
Well, in fairness, one or two probably would like to be seen at home. Out here, spending their 3 years or whatever on contract. So much British business being done in Saudi Arabia at the moment, and it's to be hoped there will be more. Bannister. Certainly the company that brought the players out is expecting its personnel to go up quite markedly. Sterland. Lineker. Rocastle. Sterland. Saudis pushing forward. Thomas. And offside against Lineker. Sterland. Although England have come back into the game, I can't believe that the manager will think too long about substitutions, because there are many positive reasons for using other players, to find out whether Lineker could play again with Smith as he did with Leicester, to bring on Brian Marwood, who's rising 29, so it's worth giving a chance now, having been brought here. I think it might well help the other Arsenal players have colleagues on. Cut out by Abdullah Saleh. Pearce. Lineker in the middle, gets there first, but Jamil covered behind him. Watched Carlos Alberto working with the Kuwaiti team. His greatest problems then was to get an organised defence. It seems with the presence of Jamil and Anema, the captain, he's got a good starting point here with Saudi Arabia. Waddle. Oh, no Great confidence in the goalkeeper. We've had an hour of the match. Just joined us. The score is 1-1. England having taken until the 54th minute to reply to a goal scored in the 15th. Offside must be. Spectacular though it was from Gary Lineker. Disappointed though as the ball went over to see Waddle apparently turn away from the play there, but Lineker didn't. Yes, there's no doubt about that one.
That's just the way it's been going for Gary Lineker the last few months. But going back to what you said about substitutes, I mean, just over the hour gone now. And really, if you're going to give somebody a run, such as Alan Smith and Brian Marwood, you've got to give them half an hour. There's no point in bringing them on 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go, because there's no real opportunity to show their merit. And certainly from Brian Marwood's point of view, at nearly 29, there's no point in leaving him in the squad for a year or so, getting used to it. He's got to go straight in and play.
Mutlaq to Abdullah Saleh. Saved by Muhsin. Pierce. The referee seems to want to keep close to Brown Robson this evening. Sterland. Looking for some movement. Robson and Thomas were then occupying the same space. Bannister. Pierce. Lineker forward. Good chest. Waddle. Beardsley. Lineker. Beardsley. Pierce. Saleh just getting there before Brian Robson. There. Ziyed. After Waddle's error. To find space rather more easily than England do. Abdul Jawad. That won't come off. Well, the ball wasn't running too kindly for Adams, who was then fouled.
Well, you mentioned the mistake. Bobby Robson's about 10 yards out of the seat off the bench, because that opportunity really came from a dreadful short corner between Chrissy Waddle and Peter Beardsley, and Chris Waddle tried to hit it with the outside of his left foot and really set up the break which Saudi are so dangerous from, and Bobby Robson, I think, in no uncertain terms, was letting him know what he thought about it.
Thomas. Beardsley. Got through. Pierce. Lineker. He's got the side foot, but not with conviction. Ziyed. Majid Abdullah has gone down the middle, and so has Muhsin. Good cover. No criticism that time of Mel Sterland, who got back across, but even so.
He got back across, but really, because of the bad control of the Saudi forward, if he'd have taken it on his stride and gone through, he was clear of the defence. They were caught flat again.
Sebi, little casual, Beardsley, still kick, appeals for the penalty, but the referee is not impressed. verdict. Would have been interesting to see the crowd's reaction, particularly as Bahrain have just been beaten at under 16 level in the Asian Games in the final by Saudi Arabia. Hussein. Obstruction by BSC. Everybody back by Lineker. Movement on the bench. Alan Smith again. I think it's he who will be the first to be brought into the action. Three around the man in possession. Pallister. Lineker forward, but he's got three men round him, and that's usually been the case. Lineker! Got a bit of it, but not enough. Came off Jamil for the corner. Corner coming at the halfway point of the second half. If you've joined us late, the score is 1-1. England about to make a substitution. And linesman drawing the attention of the referee. The referee says, forget it, I'm going to have the corner. No, he doesn't. He's going to allow a fourth new cap. Peter Beardsley is going to be the player to be replaced. And the First Division's top scorer comes into the fray. 14 times he's found the net for Arsenal. Now gets his first chance to do so or to set up something for England. Not previously capped at any level. Alan Smith. Adams. Robson lost out to Mubarak. That's good play by Rocastle. Adams. Blocked by Abdullah Saleh. Smith getting his first chance at the age of just 26. Birthday on November the 2nd. The push and shove. Lineker. Interesting to see how they renew their partnership. The referee in the way again. Almost to England's advantage.
Definitely Brian Robson and the referee have been working on some sort of understanding. There was a good one too, that wasn't it?
Quite amazing how often the official has been where Brian Robson wants to go. Smith got a bit of it. Not a good header out. Castle slipping all over the place, having been caught initially in possession. Asebe with the cross. Just comfortably cleared. Waddle. Robson. Given too much chance to dwell on the ball by Musebi. Pierce. Lineker. Tightly marked. First time, incidentally, that Bobby Robson has used 4 new players in one match. once previously used 3. Back in March '85. Masebi. Giving Majid Abdullah too much of the ball in the second half. England still not in any way flowing free. 26.5 minutes of the second half gone. 1-1 the score. Robson in possession. All back bar 3 now. This is Smith. Looks for support from Waddle. His first touch wasn't a particularly good one. It bobbled up at him. It's difficult with Waddle because even when he's playing really well, he has that rather languid hangdog style which can fool people, but when it doesn't work for him, it makes his errors look so much the worse. Mughussein inside, number 11, free kick against Rocastle. Brian Marwood is off the bench. Could be that Arsenal are going to get 5 players on. Abdul Jawad to take the free kick. 5 players in attacking positions, but one of them very wide to the right, Musebe. Referee waving the ball back. It's got to be 15 yards if it's a day. And all for that. Oh dear, oh dear. Now Smith. Free kick given. Substitution is to be made for Saudi Arabia. Athenaean is coming on. A touch from Mughussein, who's made several of them. This is Mubarak. Mughussein, ended by Pearce. So Sued is going to be the player to be replaced. So it will be an attacker for an attacker. So, positive attitude. Also better not thinking of trying to stifle things for the draw. Smith is offside. Mohamed Sued comes off and is replaced by Youssef in the end. Gascoigne also in the process of going through a few stretch exercises. My tongue could do with two, it seems. We're into the last 15 minutes, still the score at 1-1. But it has to be said, not very much learned for the England manager. Alistair, Pearce, Lineker, Smith. Needed somebody on the right side and there wasn't anybody there, and he was unlucky. He ran straight into a hole in the ground, which was quite clear from our height here. Flag is up.
You mentioned about no lessons being learned. It's difficult if you look at the new lads. Mel Sterling's had a steady game, but everyone will reflect on the goal, really, allowing the forward to turn inside. And Michael Thomas been playing far too deep, not playing the role, the surging runs that has made his name for Arsenal this season. And, you know, so that has been disappointing. David Seaman, just the one opportunity, really. With the goal that he got a hand to, but it really after that is a goalkeeper's nightmare, a very quietish game where you don't get much opportunity to show anything else. So the three new caps will be a little bit muted, I think, after their debuts.
Athenaean. Goal kick. Seconds counting away for Brian Marwood to be given the chance after a great deal of publicity, it should be said, and some of it is inspired by comments from Bobby Robson himself. That's a wasted ball. I find it difficult to believe there is anything about Chris Waddle that Bobby Robson does not know, and therefore the delay is quite extraordinary. Masebi, the skipper. It's all become rather dull, to tell the truth. Athenaean. Get the return in, covered by Pearce. Brian Robson. David Rocastle. Waddle offering the width. And he's come inside. Rocastle. Actually came into the crowd having beaten the man, whereas there was so much space behind that man that it wasn't true. It's Mel Sterling getting forward. The goalkeeper comes off his line, makes a good catch. The Arabian team also waiting to make a substitution. 1-1 against England, they will certainly see as a great boost for the coming Asian Games in Doha. Khalid Masad is the player waiting to come on. And the player going off, goes off on the other side, Muhsin. Had a useful game, I think. Marwood and Gascoigne both coming to the touchline. 2 seconds wasted. Adams away. Rocastle. Straight into his marker. To Jawad. Rocastle again. Smith just inside. Disappointing from Rocastle. In the end, tried to start something, but didn't succeed. Masebi. Alan Smith came back to collect it. Rocastle arrived just slightly late. Smith again. Looks comfortable on the ball. Sterling did not on that occasion. The substitutions being made. Chris Waddle and the obviously disappointed Michael Thomas come off to be replaced by Brian Marwood, another new cap, and Paul Gascoigne, who makes his second substitute appearance, which is slightly longer than his first. There are 9 minutes to go. I think his first was about 4.5. Just going immediately into the action and winning it back well. Lineker, I thought he was tripped. Had a very frustrating evening, Gary Lineker. Pierce might run on to Smith. He and Lineker had both come out to the right. Anema. Abdul Jawad. The drums still sending out what to England is an unpleasant message. Marwood's first touch. Looks for Lineker. Smith is in the middle, so is Brian Robson. This is Marwood, gets in a good cross, which the goalkeeper takes well. Brian Robson just trying to get a nod in front of the goalkeeper, but that probably was the sweetest move that England have put together all evening. Here's Rocastle, and it was a very good cross. Gascoigne. Took a bit too long. One or two have been watching football for a long time will probably point the fact that now Arsenal having 5 men on, they once supplied 7 to the England team back in 1934, day in November when England beat Italy. To Jawad. Woodlack. There's a bit of a gap being created, and he's run on into it. Doesn't play a good final ball though. But even so, this right back has looked a very useful player, both defensively and when given the opportunity to get forward. Abdullah Saleh. And a half minutes. Saudi Arabia 1, England 1. Smith. Gascoigne. Rocastle over this way. Lineker in the middle. Support coming from Robson. Marwood. Curling for Alan Smith. They moved too soon. 3 attackers, and I think 2 of them were offside. So we've seen some sort of rhythm in the last couple of minutes, Trevor.
Very difficult to come on though with 9 minutes to go, isn't it, for Paul Gascoigne and Brian Marwood. I still feel, you know, the age that Brian Marwood is, if you include him in the squad at this late stage, you've got to give him a full game, really. And the frustrating thing from his point of view, I mean, he's just got 9 minutes, he's got to wait now 3 months till February, when against Greece, you've got perhaps another experiment, because not a lot has been learned tonight. And then, of course, you've got to get it right for Greece, because following that, you've got 2 Albania matches, which are absolutely critical, where nothing less than 4 points will be acceptable.
Putting your comments in a nutshell, it could be said that the manager has created a problem here for himself, because he won't have seen Marwood for long enough to know for himself. Decided instead to persevere with Waddle. Seemed to be between the hole and wide, Beardsley between front and more often than not in midfield and deeper. 5 minutes left, 1-1 the score. Gascoigne in possession. Lineker chasing and winning and doing well. It's an awkward one, but it's well taken. Certainly Lineker has looked rather more comfortable with the present pattern of the last few minutes, however short. Smith is in the middle. Lineker on this near side. Oh dear. And after all that, the pass bisects them both. back into his defensive position. Carlos Alberto has a comment to make on the Saudi bench. Sabi. Two went for the same man. Athenaean. Pierce across. Marwood. Gascoigne. Rocastle. Reluctant to offer himself inside. Masabi. Majid Abdullah still waiting to find the ball. Stelland. Rocastle. Hit long looking for Marwood. Chased by Smith, who does well. Here's Marwood. Lineker in the middle. So is Brian Robson. Got there slightly too early. Mubarak. Athenaean. Rocastle made it. Here's Lineker. Just offside again. Every time the verdict has gone against him. Smile from Tony Cottee, but the others looking a little grim. Just over 2 minutes left. Still 1-1 the score. A match which has proved rather more useful to Saudi Arabia than it has to England. Majid Abdullah. Stelland. David Seaman really hasn't seen much of the ball in this second half. Rocastle. Gascoigne. Referee in the way again of the square pass to Robson. A great marking job on Robson as the man from Bahrain. Lineker needs support. Finds it from Rocastle. Gascoigne just a little bit behind. So is Stelland. Plenty of England players forward here. Stelland. 3 in the area. Marwood turns. Sitting the possession with Pierce. Well, he's pushed out and stifled the play.
Well, it just seems this free kick might be one of the last opportunities for England. It's naturally enough going to be a very disappointing squad, and in Bobby Robson, I think they'll return to England because there have really been no questions answered, and now he's got 3 months to brood before that Greece game, really.
Gascoigne to take the free kick. Question of pride, really, a winning goal. Will not prove anything one way or the other. Alistair, who was up trying to win the header. Jawed. Athenaean. I think that should be an England throw-in. Well, it certainly was an England throw-in, but the referee says differently. Sounds that the gentleman from Bahrain would be high on the list of referees in the classification of the England captains. Sad. I've seen rather less of the ball since he came on than the England substitutes. We're now playing the time the referee is allowing for the odd stoppage. easy for Seaman. Gascoigne. The referee looks at his watch. Referee's saying get on with it. Did he actually throw it in? Yes, it went into play and out. Untidy ending to what for the most part has been an untidy match, certainly from England's point of view. Saudis, I'm sure, will be delighted. It's a great feather in their caps. But for England, they came to a desert, they got lost, and they couldn't find, really, I think, any oasis. 1-1, the final score, to the obvious disappointment of all concerned with the England team.
And just time for a brief word with Bobby and Jimmy. Maybe that's just as well, Jimmy. You have to say it was dreadful, wasn't it?
Wasn't good, but he's learned, if we want to be positive, one or two players not to choose without mentioning any names. He should have learned that Lineker up front on his own is death, because it did look better towards the last 20 minutes of that particular game. And he's learned once again that we need a pacey centre-back. And then we don't need to have Tony Adams come on and save our faces from being extremely red.
England goal, just one moment of cheer,
yes,
wasn't it?
A free kick it was. Not much of a dummy, but a good cross. And the Saudi goalkeeper, I'm afraid, you know, the substitute one, the weakest member of their team, really, they're not blessed with good goalkeepers, saves our faces at the end of the day. But a 1-1 score in Riyadh is good because nobody has to buy the drinks.
Okay, that really covers the match. Now what about the future, Bobby? You have to say, what about the future for Bobby Robson?
Well, yes, I've no doubt that the press will have a real go at him tomorrow, but it wasn't a vital match, I must be honest. There was a little bit more professional play from our midfield. We got tighter on people in the second half. We looked more positive. He did change a little. Marwood certainly made a big improvement, even on the 10 minutes he was on, as did Smith. Much more direct. So he's learned a little, and the players themselves will probably learn one big lesson, which is never to underestimate anyone.
And Bobby should stay, or do we need a new person
Well,
in the dressing room there?
he will stay whatever happens. The Football Association don't work like that. They're not like a club chairman, you know, where they will sack a man instantly if they feel it's the right thing to do. They have to go through the motions of committees, etc. But nevertheless, he will stay for a while, but this won't be a happy memory for him.
Okay, Sports Night tonight, 10:50, BBC One. Further highlights from Riyadh, where it's finished very disappointingly indeed. Saudi Arabia 1, England 1, from Bobby Charlton and Jimmy Hill and myself. Goodbye for now.